Firstly, I will introduce you about the Nestle company. Nestle present in Malaysia began 1912 as the Anglo-Swiss considered milk company in Penang, later moving to Kuala Lumpur in 1939. After Malaysia independence 1957, Nestle expanded with its culinary product division and established its first manufacturing facility. Nestle Malaysia offers a diverse portfolio including dairy product, beverage, culinary items and nutritional supplement. It produced over 500 Sala certified products tailored to local tastes. Nestle's key brands such as Milo, Maggi, Nescafe, and KitKat have become household names in Malaysia. The company strives to deliver the highest quality, nutrition, and taste. Nestle Ratio Berhad has a broad product portfolio that caters to a variation of consumer needs. The company's operation align with Nestle global initiative to improve nutrition, health, and wellness. Next, I will introduce about the PBB Group Berhad. PBB Group Berhad established in 1968 as Perlis Plantation Berhad by Robert Quark. PBB Group Berhad initially focused on sugarcane cultivation in Perlis. It went public in 1972 and has evolved into a prominent Malaysian conglomerate. PBB Group's core business is through its subsidiary FFM, the largest flour miller in Malaysia, supplying flour to downstream food producers. The group pursued growth through strategic acquisition and expansion, both locally and internationally. Notably, its investment in Wilmar International Limited has strengthened its presence in agriculture and food processing. PBB Group operate across multiple sectors including grains and agribusiness, which is animal feed production, consumer staple manufacturing, and distribution, also entertainment service through Golden Screen Cinemas GSC, which is Malaysian largest cinema chain.
The formula for the current ratio is the current assets divided by the current liabilities. And the next one is a quick ratio, which is the formula is the current assets minus the inventory minus with the prepaid expenses divided by the current liabilities. So let's begin our comparative analysis between Nestle Malaysia Berhad and the PBB Group Berhad, which is the first one we can say about the liquidity ratios. As we can see, liquidity ratios have two, which is the current ratio and the quick ratio, which is the current ratio of Nestle. We can see at the data and we have calculated is 0.61 times, but the PBB group Berhad, which is 3.63 times, which we can analyze that the current ratio of Nestle is lower than the industry average, which indicate a higher risk of distress or default. Meanwhile, the current ratio of PBB group is higher than the industry average, which means it is inefficient asset utilization by the management. Next, we proceed to the quick ratio of these two groups, which is the first Nestle group has a quick ratio 0.22 times, and the PPP group Sdn Bhd, the quick ratio is 2.80 times, which means that we can analyze that the PPP group has higher quick ratio than the Nestle, which is PBB group has a better liquidity and the financial health, and Nestle may struggle with the debt, with paying the debts, and because of the lower quick ratio.
Next, about efficiency ratio. In efficiency ratio, we have four ratio, which is inventory turnover ratio, average collection period, thirdly, non-current asset turnover, fourth, total asset turnover. Efficiency ratio for the Nestle and PBB group, we can see that for the inventory turnover ratio, Nestle have less than PBB group, which is 4.98 times compared to the PBB group 4.53 times. Next, for the average collection period, Nestle also have the short-term period compared to the PBB group. Nestle have the 24.1 days. Then for PBB group, it has 55.69 days. In the non-current asset turnover, it also showed that Nestle have more than PB Group, which is Nestle have 3.12 times over than PB Group, which is 0.22 times. Lastly, for the total asset turnover, Nestle also have more than PBB Group, which is 1.98 times compared to the PBB Group 0.19 times.
So we move to leverage ratio. So under leverage ratio, we has three things, which is debt ratio, debt to equity ratio, and time interest earned. So to find debt ratio, we calculate by formula total debt divided by total asset. And to find debt to equity ratio, the formula is total debt divided by total equity. And to find time interest earned, the formula is earning before interest and tax, which is we call as EBIT, divided by interest expenses. After calculation, we found out that Nestle debt ratios are higher than PPB Group debt ratio, which is Nestle is 25.86%, while PPB Group's debt ratio is 3.20%. It shows that PPB Group has a lower borrowings than Nestle because only approximately 3% of its assets are financed by debt, while the remainder are financed using shareholders' equity. It is important to note that creditors and financial institutions will prefer a company with a lower debt ratio as it will reduce the potential losses that may occur in the event of liquidation. Next, for debt to equity ratio, Nestle also have a higher debt to equity ratio compared to PPB Group debt to equity ratio, which is Nestle is 136.79%, while PPB Group is 3.39%. So it shows that PPB Group use more equity and less borrowing as the source of financings compared to Nestle. So that means that PPB Group is more financially stable and less risky. Next, Nestle also have a higher time interest earned, which is 17.34 times, while PPB Group's is 1.94 times. So it indicates that Nestle have a high ability to fulfill interest obligations.
Next, I will explain about profitability ratio. In profitability ratio, we have gross profit margin, operating profit margin, net profit margin, return on asset, which is ROA, return on equity, which is ROE. I will explain how to calculate each ratio. For the gross profit margin, gross profit divided by sale. To get the gross profit, we need to get the data sales and minus cost of goods sold to get the gross profit. Next, secondly, about the operating profit margin, we need to find the earning before interest and tax, which is EBIT, the short name, and divide by sales. Thirdly, net profit margin. For net profit margin, we need to find the net income and divide by sales. For the return on asset, we need to find the net income, then divide by total assets. Then lastly, about the return on equity, which is ROE, find the net income, then divide by the common equity. Profitability ratio for the Nestle company and PBB group, we can see that the gross profit margin for the Nestle is higher than the PBB group. Nestle have 31.64%, meanwhile for the PBB group 10.29%. The higher the gross profit margin ratio is, the better is because the it show that the efficiency of the company in controlling cost of goods sold. For the operating profit margin, Nestle also higher than PPB Group. Nestle had 40.90%, meanwhile PPB Group have 2.31% only. It shows that the higher the operating profit margin is, the higher the profitability of the company. So it's better to get higher operating profit margin. Meanwhile, for the net profit margin, Nestle have lower than PBB Group. Nestle have 9.36%, meanwhile PPB Group has 24.85%. Nestle net profit margin is primarily lower because higher operating expense, not the higher interest change from that. For the return on asset, we can see that Nestle also have higher than PPB Group. Nestle have 18.49%, meanwhile PPB Group have 4.83% only. The ROE measure the efficiency of the company using asset to generate profit. So it indicates the management's ability to make profit from the firm's investment. For the return on equity, Nestle also have higher, which is 97.77%. Meanwhile, for PBB Group, it only have 5.11%. So it's quite lower than usual.
My name is Irdina Zulaika binti Ibrahim and my metric number is 122681. Before we are going further about market ratios in our group, here a little brief about the market ratios, which is the first one is earning per share. It's a net income divided by the total outstanding common shares. The second one, we will calculate the dividend ratios. We divide the entire number of dividends paid by the company by the total number of share held. The third one is dividend payout ratios, the proportion of earning paid out as dividends to shareholders. The fourth one is price earning ratios, the proportion of a company's share price to its earning per share. And the last one is dividend yield, the dividend per share divided by the current share price. Here are the comparison about the market ratio between the Nestle Malaysia Berhad and PPB Group Berhad. So the first one is earning per share. We can see from here, Nestle Malaysia Berhad has higher EPS compared to PPB Group Berhad, indicate that he has better profitability per share. The second one, dividend per share. Nestle Malaysia Berhad has higher DPS compared to PPB Group Berhad, indicate that it has more generous dividend policy. For the third one, dividend payout ratio, we can see PPB Group Berhad has lower payout ratio compared to Nestle Malaysia Berhad, but it indicates that it has more retained earning for growth. The fourth one is price earning ratio, which is PBB Group Berhad has lower PE compared to Nestle Malaysia Berhad, indicates that it is relatively cheaper compared to its earning. And the last one, the dividend yield, we can see that PBB Group Berhad has higher dividend yield compared to Nestle Malaysia Berhad, indicates that it has better return on investment from dividends relatively to its stock price.
So, for SWOT, after we have calculated all the calculations and ratios, it has shown both Nestle and PBB Group Berhad their strengths and weakness. Although both Nestle and PBB Group Berhad has their own strengths and weakness, but in this case, Nestle had shown more strengths than the weakness. Meanwhile, the PBB Group's Berhad had shown more weakness than the strengths. So, the strengths of Nestle: first, efficient inventory management; second, prompt receivable collection; third, effective utilizations of non-current asset; and fourth, overall asset efficiency. And the weakness of PBB Group Berhad: first, slow receivable collection; second, under-realizations of non-current asset; and third, inefficient asset utilization.
So next, we proceed to the conclusion. The first conclusion is, what is your opinion on the likely future general financial condition on both companies? So it's my opinion, it based on the four components, which is the profitability, asset management, liquidity challenges, dividend policy, and overall assessment. This is based on the Nestle Syndrome Berhad, Malaysia Berhad, which is the profitability. We can see the Nestle demonstrate the strong profitability, which is a positive sign. Their ability to generate profits from their operations is commendable. The company efficiently manage its asset, contributing to its overall financial health. However, Nestle faces liquidity challenges. This means they might be struggle with the short-term obligations due to their heavy reliance on debt financing. Next, While Nestle generous dividend policy benefits shareholders, it could limit reinvestment opportunity for growth. And the last one, Nestle financial position is robust, but addressing liquidity concerns is very, very crucial. PPP Group Berhad excels in liquidity and financial stability. Their limited debt usage ensures a strong position to meet short-term obligations. However, their profitability measures such as profit margins are lower than Nestle. This suggests weaker cost management and fundamental activities. And for the asset utilization, PPP Group shows inefficiency in asset utilization, impacting returns on equity and assets. And the last one is overall assessment. While financially stable, PPP Group needs to improve profitability and asset efficiency. So, in summary of this content, is Nestle Malaysia has a better profitability and asset management but faces liquidity challenges. PPP Group is financially stable but lacks in profitability and asset utilization. Both companies have distinct strengths and areas for improvement. Investors should consider these factors when making investment decision.
The second question asks, do they have the ability to further grow their companies and be more efficient in terms of generating future returns? So, Nestle Malaysia Berhad is financially sound stable, but actually it needs to improve their liquidity and reduce the debt reliance for better growth opportunities. Managing working capital and exploring new revenue sources would strengthen Nestle future performance. On the other hand, for PPB groups, although it has a strong financial positions with low debt, but they should focus on boosting profitability and asset efficiency through cost control, operational efficiencies, and strategic investment.
For conclusion C, how do you suggest to the board of director, which is BOD, on which company is worth to be invested by the company? So the answer is after analyzing the both companies, it is clear that PBB Group Berhad is a safer investment choice for those who looking for a cautious and conservative strategies. It has a strong liquidity and minimal debt, providing the financial security and reduce the risk. On the other hand, Nestle Malaysia Berhad is a compelling choice for those who seeking growth despite higher risk due to its superior profitability and return metrics. By investing in both companies, investors can manage risk and potential return effectively. Nestle offer growth opportunities, while PPB Group ensure the stability and consistent profits, allowing for risk reduction and leveraging the strength of both companies. Ultimately, the investment decision should align with the board's objective and risk tolerance.